Hello everyone. Today we have an interesting and a very touching session because it's related to emotional healing and trauma healing and how this is related to our physical health. So we have Dhiraj with us. He will be giving us a deep insight कि कैसे हमारी बॉडी का ट्रॉमा हमारे मेटाबॉलिक हेल्थ में मैनिफेस्ट होता है. Welcome Dhiraj, and I would like a brief introduction from your side too.
So my name is Dhiraj Shewakramani. I'm a past life regression expert, Akashic Records. I do trauma healing and I do manifestation. So I've been working in this industry for 20 years, helping people achieve their goals. And I believe many people have healed from many problems which they did not know could be healed until they met me. And this is not that I'm showing off. I mean, anybody who is in this field knows that people are the greatest obstacle of their own success. So it is important for us to take sessions with which enhance our diet, as she is, and to enhance our mental well-being.
दैट इज़ वेरी ट्रू. तो ये ट्रॉमा और इमोशनल हीलिंग हमारे बॉडी में कैसे मैनिफेस्ट होता है इन टर्म्स ऑफ मेटाबॉलिक डिसऑर्डर्स?
Our audience is pretty new to this, so let me start by explaining. There was a Japanese scientist, Masaru Emoto. He conducted a very interesting experiment which everybody mentions. So he took glasses of water and he put labels on the water and he used words. Some places, some glasses of water, he would say hate words. I hate you, I hate you, I don't like you. And some places he would say, I love you, I love you, I care about you. Every second that I see you, I feel happy. So he kept this going for some time, and after a while, he examined the water crystals under a microscope. The water crystals where he had said hateful words became fragmented, distorted, ugly. And the places where he had said, I love you, and things like that became crystallized, formed beautiful shapes like little flowers. So this also happens within you. So it's not just our water that we say, I love you, I love you, I love you, and we drink, and it enhances our health. This is obviously one of the tricks. But our emotions, our thoughts, our feelings, the body is 70% water. So every time we think, if we're thinking something negative, we're actually causing great harm to ourselves. Now, this will manifest itself as diseases, whether it's putting on weight, chronic irritability, thyroid, diabetes, various symptoms will creep up to show you that you're not keeping a strong mental health. And it is common knowledge that your gut health is very closely related to your mental health. Depression starts being fought against in the gut. So I think Pooja knows a lot about this. Let us ask her knowledge.
Yes, because in the gut we have more bacteria than the cells in the body. So इसलिए gut health is very important, and gut is directly connected with our brain through the vagus nerve. And you had some inputs about vagus nerve. We were speaking before the session.
Yes, so the vagus nerve is in yoga, it is considered one of the most important nerves of the body because directly or indirectly, all your body functions are controlled by the vagus nerve. Whether it's your metabolic rate, whether it's your heart rate, many things are controlled by the vagus nerve. So there are many exercises taught in yoga to help balance the flow within this area. Now we have nadi systems and we have the vagus nerve and the other important nerves such as the aorta and things like that, which through various practices which we will teach, such as Kumbhak or Jalandhar Bandh, we will talk about them in our sessions after this.
जैसे ज़्यादा यूज़ होता है तो ट्रॉमा या पास्ट लाइफ इम्प्रिंट, इन दोनों में डिफरेंस क्या है और ये आप क्या मेथड्स यूज़ करते हो इनको हील करने को लोगों में?
Okay. So now this is a very interesting question. I mean, you're obviously very knowledgeable in the field. It shows in the way of asking. So trauma is an effect of something that happens which leaves an extremely strong impression on us. It can be from something very drastic happening to you, such as rape or watching something horrible happen, like murder or something like that. Trauma can also happen from emotional wounds and things like that. People can hurt you in various ways, you know. It's not just through physical pain, it's through emotional pain also. And this can get stuck in your mind. This leads to trauma. For example, children get traumatized. A child worked very, very, very hard to get good marks in his exam, and he came back with an F. I said, but they asked me questions which I was not prepared for. They were not there in the material which I studied. So the child gets this is child trauma because his ambition is to get those grades. Understand what I'm saying about trauma? It can be through various methods it can enter you, yes, and the primal method is frustrated desire. Whereas past life impressions is something more profound. So our mindset is actually a flow is called continuum. मतलब जो पहले था वो अभी फिर से होगा. इसके इसलिए जैन धर्म में इसको जाति स्मरण कहते हैं, प्रति प्रसव कहते हैं हम लोग अपने मॉडर्न टाइम्स में, पास्ट लाइफ रिग्रेशन कहते हैं, आकाशिक रिकॉर्ड्स कहते हैं. हमारे जो पुराने संस्कार हैं, हमारे संचित कर्मा जो है हमारे मनमय कोश में या हमारे मन में चिपक जाते हैं. सो हम अगर ये ट्रॉमास को निकालने चाहते हैं, then we have to do some special activity to remove these past impressions. So let us take an example. अगर हमें हमारे शरीर में मोटापा ज़्यादा है, we like to eat always sweet things. Maybe we don't like cheese too much. But when it comes to sweet, we can't stop. So if you look in your past life, this thing you will at childhood, the mother says, I tried always to stop him from eating sweet. I always tried, he wouldn't listen to me. जितना भी ट्राई किया वो सुनता ही नहीं है यार, वो कोशिश करो. So then it is obvious that if since your childhood everybody is trying to give you the right guidance and people are trying to remove you from something and it's not coming out, then the origin is in a past life. Since as we die, the snapshot of our personality when we die is the snapshot with which we are born. तो जैसे हमारा आखिरी क्षण होता है पिछले जन्म में, वैसे हमारा फर्स्ट मोमेंट होता है इस जन्म में. So through past life regression we are able to find. So in this case which I am giving you of the person who was eating too much sweet, in that time in his past life he did not know that diabetes exists. He did not know that problems can happen. So whenever his mother used to love him, she used to love him and give him something sweet. जब भी कोई अच्छी चीज होता था वो लोग मुंह मीठा करते थे. Whatever you see, so this is like a past life. It's not a big deal, but it became that when he lost his parents in his past life, the only way he could connect with his parents was by eating something sweet. So it became a strong impression in his past life. In this new life, he always wants to eat sweet because it's even though he has maa ka pyar, he has everything in this life. But whenever he goes through those same emotional triggers, he goes and repeats the same behavior pattern. So it is important to know where you're coming from. Because now when he goes back into his past life, he finds out that okay, now I have an emotional trigger.
So
Then
we are living a repeated life.
Yes, you're knowledgeable of this. I get it.
So Dheeraj, as you said कि हम लोग एक repeated pattern जीते हैं, मतलब everyone is living a repeated pattern, maybe in this life also, and all our lives are a repeated pattern. Another thing I realized is कि कई बार जब deep trauma होता है लोग psychologist, psychiatrist के पास ही जाते हैं, but उनको इतना healing नहीं मिलता है compared to when they go for a past life regression or an akashic record. because वहाँ पे I feel they get a root cause of their present trauma. Maybe it's domestic abuse, maybe something is related to your child or parent. पर जब आप ये ना देखते हो तो मुझे ऐसे लगता है हमें ज़्यादा अच्छा इंसाइट मिलता है. We become more forgiving. What do you think about this, Dhiraj?
Absolutely. The more you purify your mind, the more compassionate and forgiving, because you understand that people are doing things based on impulses, and you also make similar mistakes. I mean, people are making mistakes in their diet all the time. I mean, that you're a professional, and people have so many repeat patterns in their diets. Is this related to a chemical imbalance?
Yes, everything is a chemical imbalance related to the body. And what is the imbalance when we are related to our emotions? What do you think?
I think if you're, as I explained before, the water, when you have an emotional imbalance, you will tend to try to stuff yourself more, because the body will try to cover its vital organs in fat as a
Yes, like
protective
you
measure.
told me about like the cortisol body in a woman. She tries to store fat in the lower belly.
Oh.
You had given a very good reason. Can you explain our viewers about that?
So cortisol is like a poison which is formed in your body especially when you go through stages of high stress. Why do these stages of high stress come? Because some impression is there in your mind. मतलब मन में कुछ तो विचार है, उस विचार पर आप रिएक्ट कर रहे हो. अभी बाहर से आ सकता है आपको कि आपको कोई गुंडा मवाली आपके पीछे आ गया, आप भाग रहे हो, आपको स्ट्रेस हो गया, या अंदर से आपने कोई स्ट्रेसफुल चीज़ याद किया हो, आप स्ट्रेस में आ गए. पर ये स्ट्रेस आपके शरीर के लिए जहर है, क्योंकि आप जितना स्ट्रेस करोगे उतना शरीर को, अपने बॉडी को प्रोटेक्ट करना होगा. और सबसे प्राइमल जो मेथड है जिसमें शरीर आपके बॉडी को प्रोटेक्ट करता है, वो है फैट स्टोरेज. तो हमने पहले भी डिस्कस किया था कि शरीर बाहरी इंप्रेशन से, बाहरी चीज़ों से भी ट्रॉमा अपने लिवर में स्टोर करता है, और आंतरिक डाइटरी इम्बैलेंसेस और इमोशंस को भी लिवर में स्टोर करता है.
फिजिकल टॉक्सिन्स जैसे लिवर में स्टोर होते हैं. देन वी डू अ लिवर डिटॉक्स प्लान्स फॉर पीपल टू डिटॉक्स द लिवर. इवन लाइक व्हेन यू आर अप्लाइंग मेकअप और यूजिंग केमिकल्स इन द हाउस, वो लिवर में स्टोर होता है. So like that you're saying even emotional trauma is
stored in the liver, yes.
okay.
So that means we need specific plans. First we need to heal our diet before we can heal our mind. Because अगर आप शरीर को ही ठीक न करो तो मन उसके पीछे जो उसके पीछे आते हैं वो कभी हील होएगा नहीं. That is why trauma first starts by supplementation.
So as we spoke about trauma, पर कई लोगों का ज़्यादा ट्रॉमा होता है. लाइक दे मस्ट हैव बीन अ विक्टिम ऑफ डोमेस्टिक वायलेंस और मे बी रेप. तो जब ये लोग हीलिंग में जाते हैं तो इनके काफ़ी इमोशंस रिलीज होते हैं. सो हाउ डू यू डील विद सच पीपल?
So let me give you a live example. तो मेरी एक स्टूडेंट थी जो रेप की विक्टिम थी. उसका प्रॉब्लम था कि वो कभी बोलती नहीं थी. So the first problem was to get her to actually speak about it, to start understanding. कभी नहीं बात करती थी तो कोई उसका प्रॉब्लम निकाले कैसे? वो शक्ल बनाती थी, गुस्सा हो जाती थी. And she went through a lot of things. She could not express why she was angry or what, because whenever she was angry or somebody had hurt her very badly. So she was unable to express. She expected always कि वो बिना बताए people should come and give her whatever she wants. It doesn't work, because you have to at least indicate properly what you want. And she had another problem of lashing out, and like she would just scream and everybody would get frightened of her because she could not understand that you're not always going through your trauma. So she could not relate to real events where you need to be, where slightly tense events are, then she will start screaming. So this is a very vulnerable person. How do you take her through this? So the first thing you start with is energy healing. So that person who has such a damaged energy from the cosmos, you first try to heal the energy body. हमारे सूक्ष्म शरीर भी होते हैं, तो सूक्ष्म शरीर में हम जब फ्रेश एनर्जी लाते हैं और नकारात्मक हॉर्मोन्स जो होते हैं, फीलिंग्स जो होते हैं, उनको हमको ड्रेन करने होते हैं. So there is a lot of things. So first it starts with something like massage. Sometimes you massage the temples of a person और वो आदमी का साइकोलॉजिकल स्टेट स्ट्रेस से बाहर आता है. उसके हाथ को पकड़ो, उसको थोड़ा मसाज करो. They have to come in a physical state of relaxation. Second, I know it doesn't seem very logical, but give them something to eat and drink, which is warm and nurturing. उसमें से उनको एक्चुअली ऐसे फील होता है कि वो एक पीसफुल और सेफ स्पेस में है. जब उनका मन एक सेफ स्पेस में आता है तब हम हीलिंग थेरेपीज कर सकते हैं. बट इट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू टेक एक्स्ट्रा प्रिकॉशन टू मेक द पर्सन फील कंफर्टेबल एंड सेफ. नाउ इट इज आल्सो अ रिस्पांसिबिलिटी, यू नो, बिकॉज अगर कोई आप पर विश्वास करता है तो आपको आप पे भी एक रिस्पांसिबिलिटी होता है कि उनका विश्वास ना तोड़े. वैसे
Yes, very true.
then we have methods. Obviously we have meditation methods and techniques.
तो इतने सारे टेक्निक्स है, जैसे चक्रा हीलिंग है, मेडिटेशंस है, कई मंत्रम्स है. तो हमें कहाँ से स्टार्ट करना चाहिए? जो अपनी लाइफ में बहुत बिजी है, उसने अभी तक कुछ भी नहीं किया है, सो व्हाट डू यू सजेस्ट, उसको कहाँ से स्टार्ट करना चाहिए?
5 minutes a day, if you have, you should take those 5 minutes to separate your mind into two. मैं आत्मनिरीक्षण का प्रैक्टिस कहते हैं इसको. आप अपने आप को सेल्फ ऑब्जर्व करें. आप देखो कि आपके अंदर क्या विचार चल रहे हैं और आप जान जाए कि मैं ये विचार नहीं हूँ. विचारों में अपना ऑर्गेनिक लाइफ है और वो अलग है और मैं अलग हूँ. इसको कहते हैं प्योर सोल मेडिटेशन. एवरीबडी टीचेस कि आप रिकग्नाइज करो कि मैं सोल हूँ. मैं सिर्फ रिलेटिव व्यू पॉइंट से मैं ये शरीर हूँ. मैं किसी का बेटा हूँ, किसी का दोस्त हूँ, और कुछ लोगों से मुझे अच्छे नहीं लगते कुछ लोग. ये रिलेटिव व्यू पॉइंट है. रियल व्यू पॉइंट से मैं शुद्ध आत्मा हूँ. आई एम प्योर सोल. अगर आप इसमें आ जाए तो आप में सेपरेशन कैपेसिटी आ जाए. 5 to 10 minutes आप रोज करो, आप में एक सेपरेटिंग फैकल्टी आ जाए ना. ये जो चीज़ है ना, परसिवियरेंस से वर्क होता है. आपको रोज करना है. 10 minutes मतलब 10 minutes रोज. तब भी आपके अंदर ये थॉट मैनिफेस्ट हो जाएगा. यू विल अंडरस्टैंड देयर इज अ डिफरेंस बिटवीन मी एंड माय फिजिकल बॉडी. फ्रॉम रियल व्यू पॉइंट आई एम शुद्धात्मा. फ्रॉम रिलेटिव व्यू पॉइंट आई एम धीरज. तभी आप जी पाओगे. आप फिर समझ पाओगे, अच्छा मेरे धीरज के अंदर क्रोध है, धीरज के अंदर अगर आप अपने आप से सेपरेट ही नहीं कर सकते हो, तो अभी आप शून्यता में आ ही नहीं सकते, तो आप कभी हील हो ही नहीं सकते. I'll give a nice example which I think will be very helpful. अगर आप किसी लकड़े के ऊपर खड़े हो तो आप उसे उठा नहीं सकते, तो पहले आपको उतरना पड़ेगा, तभी आप लकड़े को उठा सकते. So same.
That makes sense. वैसे I was reading Dhiraj in my spiritual work also that we have 7 bodies. We won't be discussing about all the 7 bodies, but आप थोड़ा सा एक interesting insight दे सकते हो इस बारे में about because we always think कि हमारा physical body ही है. Some people मतलब एकदम mechanical way में जीते हैं. They feel कि सिर्फ फिजिकल बॉडी है, इसी को हील करना है. एवरीथिंग इज इनपुट आउटपुट बेस्ड में ही रहते हैं कि ये करो तो यही होगा. एंड दे डोंट गो इनटू अ स्टेट ऑफ सिटिंग क्वाइटली और जस्ट मेडिटेटिंग. दे जस्ट हेट इट. So for them to understand this, so that everyone should have an opportunity to start somewhere. Can you explain a little bit about the subtle bodies, because they do exist?
So Dalai Lama was talking about this once. He said that the conventional psychologists have not even scratched the surface of how to heal a person. They know certain things through trial and experimentation, and their opinions are valid and useful. They are wonderful. In fact, psychologists are a blessing. But they are not able to healed all the levels of the mind because they're only treating you as a physical body. And they're not even addressing traumas which exist from your past lives. So the first thing which we have to realize is we have a body, a physical body, and we have an energy body. Energy body is what heals us. सूक्ष्म शरीर कहते हैं हम इसको. फिर हमको एक शरीर है जहाँ पर हम स्वप्न देखते हैं. This is common. You feel physically you're fully asleep, but you're still having dreams, and you wake up in the morning and you can note them down. कि मेरे स्वप्न में ये होता है. So these are the different dimensions of nature. There's no need to dwell too much on it. It exists. There are various dimensions of nature, and each dimension has different types of feelings, thoughts, and things. Each dimension is there are 7 chakras, which is commonly taught in yoga, and these 7 chakras connect you to 7 different dimensions. So you have the heart chakra connecting you to the mental world. Vishuddha chakra, throat connects you to Karan Lok, or the causal world. This is where you find the cause of the different things.
So you spoke about the throat chakra. We have many people suffering from thyroid. What do you think there is a link of thyroid and the throat chakra? Is it related to something they are doing wrong and they are not aware, like not diet from the diet point of view, but from their actions or from their past life?
So this is this is actually openly taught in yoga. In fact, they have methods for this, such as simhasana and things like that. The throat is 100% related to thyroid, misuse of the throat. So if you have a habit of talking in your mind, repeating angry thoughts, some incident is here where you get stuck, and and you're unable to give compassion, you will start creating autoimmune diseases. This is also common in sages. They do too much mantra. They keep repeating their mantra millions of times. It actually creates such a strong vibration that sometimes it causes them things like thyroid and things. Because excessive mantra generates so strong heat. Now, that is still positive. If you are saying excessive negative words in your mind, you are killing yourself. Because it's not just the thyroid, every part of your body will start falling sick. With COVID, a lot of diseases and things have come up, and the triggers are not just in the COVID. People find them in their day-to-day living and in nutritional misinformation. As we said before, gut health is
Yes.
very closely related to your mental health.
Yes. So it's interesting to know that if you misuse your power of word because you're always creating, you can end up with something related to throat, like thyroid or any other disease, hyperthyroid, Hashimoto's.
Yes. Yes.
So that is very interesting to know.
Even diabetes has its root in wrong words and wrong states of being. So what are wrong states of being? You have it's common. So I will not. Many actors actually talk about it. It's depression. Many people, depression is actually a vasana. That your heart chakra gets habituated to being in the wrong state of being, which is again very closely related.
Can you explain Vasana to people who don't understand what Vasana is?
Vasana is a thought form which has taken energy and is now repeating on its own. So these are internal events which will now happen, and you have to learn to not react to them. Let's say you got angry at your mom as a kid. You didn't like some food and she loved that food, so she was making that food all the time, and you were all angry with her. You eventually become addicted to being angry in that way. Then you start repeating that pattern in your head a lot. Or if you're in a very hot climate, the climate can affect your irritability if you don't know how to process it. Then you become a very irritable person. So the thing which we are taught is now you go back to your nutrition first.
कई बार पास्ट लाइफ में फॉल्स मेमोरीज आ जाती है, तो इसमें आप क्या रिस्क होता है, कैसे डील करते हो फॉल्स मेमोरीज के रिस्क के साथ आप कैसे डील करते हैं?
So many times people are not prepared for information. कुछ कुछ लोग होते हैं उनको इतने intense psychological problems होते हैं that the your subconscious mind, your soul is aware that you cannot handle information.
Mhm.
So because these kind of activities actually happen by with tying up with higher beings. So when you're working with a person, it is common sense to give them symbolic answers. So those stories which you say, true or not true, are helping you heal. Whatever you see, whether you go inside and you suddenly see you're like a cockroach flying around, whether you're a cockroach or not a cockroach, it could be symbolic that the way you're living your life is you're behaving like a cockroach. So it is not necessarily exact, but it is healing. It is information because your mind actually works on less, a principle of less. So your mind has the ability to concise information. 1,000 words can be said in one picture. So the mind has the ability to concise things into symbology. If I say you're Napoleon Bonaparte in your past life, it doesn't mean you're Napoleon Bonaparte. I'm not joking. I'm not making fun. People do see it, it's common. But it means you fight too much. बहुत ज़्यादा लड़ाकू हो, Napoleon की तरह. कि क्या है उसकी, everybody knows his story about what happened with him, this and that. So if you're seeing Napoleon's story, it's because you know Napoleon's story and you can extract information. It's like the regressions and things are as informative as getting using dreams. You can fall asleep praying to your soul to show you something in the dream, and the dream they educate you. This is very normal. These are methods which people used to use in ancient times. So, apart from this, you actually have a requirement to balance yourself psychologically. And it comes into nutrition actually. I had a client who would not eat. That person, as a result of eating only fruit, became extremely psychologically imbalanced. So if I'm sure you know very well what
Yes,
it.
makes sense. जैसे हम लोग ग्राउंडिंग करते हैं फॉर ब्रेन हेल्थ विद ओमेगा 3 मैग्नीशियम, बिकॉज मैक्सिमम पॉपुलेशन इज डेफिशिएंट इन मैग्नीशियम. D3 तो हार्डली किसी के ब्लड रिपोर्ट्स में 20 के ऊपर होता ही नहीं है. लाइक D3 इज वेरी लो इन द ब्लड रिपोर्ट्स. सो वी ग्राउंड पीपल विद प्रॉपर न्यूट्रिशन फॉर ब्रेन हेल्थ. तो आप कैसे ग्राउंडिंग करवाते हैं?
So, considering that the person has now gotten some good nutrition and the brain is now capable of doing the work, then you will start with exercises such as pranayam, body relaxation, physical exercise. There are three pillars upon which, and finally philosophy. If किसी का character खराब है तो उसको philosophically educate करोगे like this.
आप ऑनेस्टली बताइए कि ऐसे लोग हैं जिनको पास्ट लाइफ रिग्रेशन बिल्कुल नहीं करनी चाहिए.
बिल्कुल. There are many people who are very psychologically weak people, बहुत ही gullible लोग. मैंने अभी समझाया कि you can get a response in symbology, and that person is now taking the symbology literally and missing the point only of the symbology. तो वो सीखने नहीं आए, अपने 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 आत्मा से सीखने नहीं आए, वो बस कोई पॉइंट वो मजे लेने आए हैं. वो नहीं करना चाहिए. गो टू अम्यूजमेंट पार्क. यू डोंट.
ठीक है. तो जैसे कि कई लोग डीप हीलिंग में, मतलब मैं अपने प्रैक्टिस में भी देखती हूँ, कई लोग बहुत डिपेंडेंट हो जाते हैं. आई एम श्योर आपके इसमें भी होगा कि इन द प्रोसेस ऑफ हीलिंग द क्लाइंट बिकम्स वेरी डिपेंडेंट ऑन यू एंड लाइक यू डोंट हैव अ बाउंड्री. तो आप कैसे टेक्निक्स देते हो कि वो empowered हो?
What you've said actually in the same thing which you've asked, you have given honestly. You have to empower them. You teach them how to do their own regression. You teach them how to do their own meditations. You teach them how to stand alone. Now, कोई आपको इतनी इंटीमेट बात बताए, दोस्ती तो हो जाती है ना.
Yeah, but there has to be
But so obviously there's the client, there's a professionalism.
yes.
There is a difference between, there's a space between you and them, and there is a understanding that it's a place of trust and safety.
Yes.
Whatever happens, then nobody's going to find out.
Yes.
So these are relationships as a client and therapist relationship. It's professionalism. But you should not make the person dependent on you. कल को वो किधर जाए, he can sit down on his own and do his own practice.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm unreachable doesn't mean that he's not empowered enough to heal himself, because this is part of knowing your own capacity.
So we come to the final question ki healing actually begins from within. Even I believe that because 90 to 95% of the diseases are based on lack of nutrition या कई nutrition हम ज़्यादा ले लेते हैं कई macro nutrients हम ज़्यादा ले लेते हैं maybe we take a lot of protein or we take a lot of carbs or fat so we end up with a disease. So the healing begins from within whether it's related to the physical disease or your emotional health. So what do you feel about this?
So actually, we are just facilitators. Yeah, that we are enabling healing to happen. We are not healing. The body heals itself. Somebody cuts their finger by mistake. The doctor is not doing the healing. He allows the healing to happen. He can put a splint, he can put a band-aid, and the body closes the wound on its own. So the same thing happens with your psychology also. It's like putting a splint. You allow your trauma to come out. You allow yourself to comprehend why you are reacting this way or that way. But healing happens on its own. It happens from your inner Shakti or inner Kundalini. All these things exist. But the reality is, once you know how to heal, healing happens. Even if you don't know how to heal, some kind of thing happens, but that is called trauma. So that is why trauma healing is basically removing a broken bone type of thing and letting it heal back itself. Understand?
Yes, that is interesting that we are just facilitators,
Yeah, just
and it's very important to have people like us so that you're not dependent a lot on the chemicals or a lot of medications, to treat yourself because these things actually have a lot of side effects. Even if you take a paracetamol on a regular basis or any medication, it always has a side effect. So it's always important to give your body that power, the nutrition, the emotions, the right positive feelings to heal yourself. ओके धीरज अगर हम एक रिट्रीट प्लान करते हैं डिज़ाइन करते हैं विच इज़ रिलेटेड टू इमोशनल हीलिंग एंड न्यूट्रिशन तो आपको क्या लगता है वो रिट्रीट का एक दिन कैसा होगा?
No, the retreats are about discipline and relaxation. So obviously you begin with physical exercise to release happy hormones, serotonin, dopamine from a good yoga session, pranayam, and some meditation. Then you have good nutrition, the food that empowers your mind to heal. And you have to have chill sessions, fun games, things like that, so that people enjoy themselves. They get to know people. Remember, it's a social event. Socialization, social interaction also causes healing. So, if you have factors where you have good past life regression sessions, obviously, and meditations, and you have good lectures, because if you've come all the way for a retreat, you should go back with knowledge on how to live your life better. Then I think that much is enough for you to have had a good time, and it's also a vacation for you, a few days, then a good trek, a good outdoor activity.